you have any question, unmute yourself and ask. No need to raise hand, no need to write message in the chat, okay? Do not feel that, okay, let Rohit finish what he's saying and then I will ask. No, just ask at any point of time. That is something I really appreciate. Okay, disclaimer, guys. If you are preparing for any exam, these sessions will help you, but do not depend on these sessions completely. Like normally, like you should what I will be teaching or helping you understand over here. It should be done like learned and practiced over at least 10 to 16 hours, and I'm doing all that in 1 hour, so it's not enough for exam, but it will definitely help you to a certain extent. Okay, let's talk about reflexive weapon, guys. Maybe can someone, guys, so when anybody who wants to unmute themselves and read these sentences for me, for example, danke and then whatever is after that. Anyone? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mohammed.
Uh, Hello,
Yeah.
can you hear me, right?
Yes, you
Right?
can. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. There are many ways to say thank you. Danke, danke dir, danke schön, vielen Dank, danke sehr, ich bedanke mich.
Okay. Do you know, Mahendra, what is the difference between danke and danke dia?
Danke in the sense is like just thank you, and then thank you, dear, something like that.
Danke
Danke
is
dear.
just thanks. Again, this is not, but I just want to make sure that you. Danke is thanks. Danke dia is thank you. Okay, and there is actually this word like ich danke dir. So for example, in English we
Mm,
say I thank you, right? But we don't say I. We just
yeah.
say thank you, right? So it's
Yeah.
something like that. Danke schön. I mean, it's obvious. Thank you. Uh, and
Correct.
then vielen Dank is like thank you very much. And then danke sehr, again, it's also something like danke. Then we have ich bedanke mich, right? If you look at this sentence, okay, I hope you can you guys see my sir? You can see the cursor, right? When I pointed.
Yes.
Okay, so you see ich bedanke mich, right? So if you have some understand, I mean, because this A2, you should know any sentence, right? It will have a subject, it will have a verb, and then after that, it will have an object, and the object can be an adjective, it can be a noun, right? For example, I am Rohit. So here Rohit is a noun, but if I say, I am happy, so I am happy is an adjective. But if I say I read a book, so a book is not adjective, it's a noun. But over here you have something, we have mish over here. What is mish if I have to ask you? So what is mish? For example, ish is a pronoun, right? So ish is a personal pronoun, do is a personal pronoun. Have you ever seen mish? Mahendra, you can answer.
Mish is
Yeah.
object form of ish.
Yes, yes, it is right.
Accusative.
But what
Ob-
something about like dative, genitive, any something in that
Accusative.
direction?
Accusative.
Yes, mesh is accusative, right? So here you have something which is you have a pronoun in as an object. Okay. So again, it doesn't mean I thank myself. Okay, it still means I thank, but it's a different way. German is a different language, guys. So you will just have to accept a few things. So here, ich bedanke mich is also saying I thank you. Okay, it's a different way of saying that. Let us look at what this is, okay? Uh, so ish is the subject, bedanke is a verb. So the verb is bedanken, okay? So for ish is bedanke, for do it will be bedanks, okay? For RSZ it will be bedankt, and I hope you get the idea. Mish is actually, if you have, it is not pronoun in accusative, it is, we call it as reflexive pronomen. And here you have the table. You have to remember this table, guys. Just learn this by heart. But the good thing about this table is, for RSZ, it is zish, zish. For small SZ, capital Z, again, it is zish, zish. For ia, oish, oish. Via, uns. Only that is difficult is for ish, right? You have to remember ish, mish, mia, do, dish, tia. Okay? So this is reflexive pronomen, right? So when I don't think that, okay, air, then accusative of air will be in and dative of air will be in. This is not that. This is not personal pronoun. This is reflexive pronomen. Okay. So this is reflexive pronomen. Mish, mia, dish, dia. Now just accept for now that over here, this personal reflexive pronomen is in accusative case, and that's why we are using mish. Okay, just accept this. If for some reason you have a verb over here, a reflexive verb, which requires this reflexive pronoun to be in dative, it will be mia. Okay, when that is the case, we will look into it. Any questions, guys, please ask. But so far clear, you have subject verb, but as the object, you have reflexive pronoun, and that reflexive pronoun is nothing but it corresponds to this one, right? Let's say if I have to say, instead of ish, if I had ia over here, how would the sentence look like? If I had, instead of ish, if I had ia, what will be the sentence be?
Ear bedang oik.
Yeah, better.
So
Okay.
maybe in your city it's k, but depends. Okay, be careful. So I think it should be sh, like oish, like sh of show. But maybe in your city, if they say it's like k, it's fine. Okay, but I believe in another way it's still oish and not oik. Uh, that's the correct answer. Someone else also gave the answer, but because I have the correct answer, I'll skip your answer. Let's look at what are reflexive verben. Okay, again, guys, nobody's ever going to ask you what reflexive verben unless you want to work with me. I will ask you this, but in real life, nobody's going to ask you. But so just so that you have some idea what reflexive verben are, they are verbs, of course, right? So you have heard so far about normal verbs, then you have heard about like trennbare verben, right? So normal verbs and trennbare verb, they both can be reflexive from time to time. Okay, what do I mean by reflexive? So they will have, these verbs will be used along with reflexive pronomen, the table that you saw. What does this mean? The subject and the object imply the same person, okay? Subject and the object imply the same person. For example, ish and mish, they both imply the same guy, right? So if I use do over here, do bedangstish, do and dish uh, point to the same guy. All right, guys, small definition. Now, when is reflexive pronomen? So when is reflexive pronomen accusative and when is it dative? If you have to take a guess, it's almost always accusative. Okay, it's almost always accusative, except, of course there are exceptions, except when there is another accusative object in the sentence. We will look into examples, right? If there is no other object, right, then the reflexive pronomen will be accusative. If there happens to be one more accusative object in the sentence, then the reflexive pronomen has to be dative. This much clear? Almost always accusative, but if there is another object which is accusative, then reflexive pronomen has to become dative. Not a big deal, all you have to remember is that, mia, dia, and like for all the other versions, it's the same, right? So zish will remain zish, uns will remain uns, oish will remain oish, zish will remain zish. Only this one you have to have, but I think you already know this, right? So you already know this. Let's see. Uh, let's not look at this example. Let me okay, let's look at this example. Why not? Okay, so you have the table over here, guys. The table is still there. Now there is this verb zish vashan. Vashan, I think you know, right? What vashan means. If I say, ish vasha, how do you say I'm cleaning the plates? Anyone? Not plates, okay. How do I say I'm cleaning the clothes? Anyone?
Ich wasche die Kleidung.
Kleidung, right? So here you are saying ich wasche die Kleidung, but that is also like, but there is also this verb. The moment you add sich to it, it becomes reflexive verb. And here ich wasche means, you are washing yourself. Okay, here it means you are washing yourself. Now let's look at, if let's say ich wasche mir die Haare. Okay, so here you are saying you are washing your hair. Again, I don't think you're ever going to say this in real life. Normally you talk about these things only with your close friends and they normally speak English or your mother tongue, but just for some understanding, right? So here you have one more object, right? And this object will become accusative, and that reflexive pronoun now has to be dative, right? So this is why over here now it isn't mish anymore, it's mia. Any questions? So these banners, tell you subject, verb. You have the direct object over here, right? Or just the object, what you are washing, and ishvasha mia dihara. Again, what does this imply? If I just say ishvasha dihara, right? It may mean anyone's hair, right? Ishvasha dihara. It can mean, for example, if I go to a salon, normally they will wash my hair. They will ask me to go and like get my hair washed, right? So there, the guy can say, the ishvasha daina hara. But let's say in the morning, if I'm, like I have to shampoo my hair, then I have like if I have to describe what I'm doing, I will say ishvasha miya dihara, because ishvasha dihara I mean, if it's on paper, it does not tell you, like, whose hair are you washing, just so that you understand why you have to use Mia over here. Uh, okay. Now, don't say that Ishvasha Diya Dihara. Okay. If you say this, I will know what you're saying. So you're saying, you're washing someone's hair, but in real life, it's not wrong. People will know what you're saying, but on paper, in exam, they may cut your marks. Okay. Depends what kind of a teacher there is checking your paper, but they may cut your marks. Also, one thing you should know, that so you may ask this question, right? So why is Mia before Dihara? So why is, like, it's not like Ishvasha Dihara Mia. The German grammar says that when you have two things in a sentence, normally you know that for sure, the subject and the verb, they are there for sure. Then if you have two objects in a sentence, the dative object will be before the accusative object. So this Mia is the dative one, it's before the accusative object. There is one exception, we'll talk about that exception later. Okay, but normally the dative one object will be before the accusative object. Is it important in real life to make sure that the dative object is before accusative object? Yes, very important. Otherwise, it sounds very odd. All right. Like, how many types of reflexive verb are there? Again, no one is going to ask you, but you may need this information if you really do practice. If you go and like write down reflexive verb. So, what do I mean by different types of reflexive verb? For example, Vashan is a normal verb, right? So like to wash something, but it can be also made reflexive, right? So there are verbs, they are normal verbs, but you can use them in a reflexive manner, right? So that is what, uh, the third category. For example, this one, verbs which are sometimes reflexive. Okay, the verbs which are sometimes reflexive. For example, yemandan came in. Any idea what does mean? Like, if I say ish came a dish, what does it mean, guys? What's the first thing you do after coming out of the shower? I mean, after you are ready, what do you do?
Comb hair.
Yeah, comb hair, right? So ish kema dish is like, I will comb your hair, but zish came ish kema mish will be, I'm combing my hair, right? So what does tell you, right? So keman can be used on its own, but it can be also made reflexive. Okay, that is what uh, this is what, you can use them with as well as without reflexive pronoun. Of course, the meaning will change. Okay, here the meaning does not change that much, but the meaning will change drastically in some examples. Okay, sometimes the meaning changes completely, and that is the third variety, right? There are verbs whose meaning will change completely when used with reflexive pronoun. What is umsian, guys? Give me a sentence with umsian, tell me what it means. When you get a new job and the job is in a different city, what do you have to do?
To move, to
Yeah,
shift.
yes, give me a sentence, please.
Ich sehe nach Frankfurt um.
Correct. What is sich umziehen if you had to take a guess?
To change my own location, to move
No,
myself.
no. So here the meaning changes completely. Anyone else wants to take a guess what sich umziehen means? Okay, so what do you do after you come back from work? If you, let's say, if you're not work, if you have to go to work or like from time to time, what do you do after you come back from work? You can give me all the examples and I'll tell you what the right answer is. No one? What do you do?
We
Get
retire, we take rest.
You take, but before, like, what's the first thing? No, you come back, I mean, of course, you will not be sitting in your office clothes, right?
We move.
come from the office to the home. I mean,
That
travel.
is after you come back. Like you come back home, you just open the door, come back, and before you sit on the sofa, you go to the bathroom and
Remove.
you change your clothes, right?
Okay.
Yes. So ish tzia mish Okay, ish tzia mish is to change. The meaning changes completely, guys. Okay. Now that we are talking about it, again, guys, these sessions, I don't want to like here. What I want to do is I want to help you how you can learn German. Okay. This way, I will force you to. I may demotivate you from the time because you'll feel you don't know nothing, but that's my idea so that you get demotivated and you get motivated to learn more. Let's play this game. Let's play this game. Let me get my text box and we will have some fun. Okay, so what does CN means? Anyone? What does CN means? When you go when you enter any place on the door, what is written? There are two options. What may be written on the door just next to the door handle?
Pull.
Push and pull.
Pull.
Yeah. So what do you
Pull.
think CN is?
Zion is pull.
CN is pull, right? CN is pull.
Drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
For example, ich ziehe die Tür, I pull the door, right? DN is pull. Umziehen is to move. You just told me. Sich umziehen means to change. Tell me what this means. I'll tell you
Unseen.
exact. So sorry. It was accusative unseen. What does this mean? Unseen. Any guess?
Basically,
To wear.
put clothes
And
on.
put on.
Sorry, a little bit louder.
Unseen.
Put on. Put clothes
Unseen.
on.
Put on.
No, unseen. No, unseen. That yes, but only when you are using it in a reflective, like reflexive way. So let me just make this go up. So, uh, sich accusative is sich accusative anziehen is to wear something, So sich accusative umziehen means to change your cloth. Sich accusative anziehen is to, to wear something. For example, ich ziehe mich an. For example, that means, after the shower, like normally we don't have much clothes on, and then you are wearing clothes, right? So that is sich accusative anziehen. Okay. Again, guys, I don't think you'll talk about all this in real life, but this is like, this should tell you how you can learn German language, right? So sich accusative anziehen means to wear something. Okay, what do you think then sich accusative ausziehen means? Anyone?
uh, to put clothes off. To remove
Yeah, to take
clothes.
off, right? To take off. To take off.
Take off.
I mean, to take
Yeah,
off clothes, right? That is very good. So, any idea what unseen means? Okay, let me give you this example and tell me what this means. Here, very
listening.
carefully, right? Magnet sieht Eisen an. Magnet sieht Eisen an. No idea. Let's say I go to a again, I believe everybody is grown up over here. Let's say if I go to a restaurant and I see someone over there I like, okay, someone, and then I go and I say a very cheesy line. I say, "Du siehst mich an." What do you think I'm saying?
Uh, uh,
So I gave you two
you
examples.
You attract.
Magnet sieht
pleasing
Eisen an,
me.
and then I go to a
You
place and
please,
I see someone and I really like that person and I want to say like I have a very cheesy pickup line. I will say, "Du siehst mich an." What do you think I'm saying?
you attract me. You
Hmm?
please me. You look
Sorry?
pleasing.
It's okay. So magnet, what is Eisen, guys? What does Eisen mean? Eisen.
Iron.
And what is
Iron.
magnet?
Magnet is
Magnet.
magnet.
What is the relation
Iron
between magnet
attracts
and iron?
magnet.
Ah,
Magnet attracts the
Yeah,
iron.
so
That's
magnet, so
what
unseen, it was
you
accusative,
are
unseen means
trying to say.
to attract, right? So you attract me. All right. So sich accusative unseen means something else. It was accusative unseen means completely different, right? All right. Let's see if I can write a little bit more. So it's the same verb, guys. Let's see. Okay, so I think we went off the topic. So again, there are three types of reflexive verb. Again, you don't need to know this, but just so you know, like for example, verbs. This one we looked at, the verbs which are sometimes reflexive, and you can use them like they can be reflexive and they cannot be reflexive. For example, cayman, like not reflexive, sich cayman, but the meaning still more or less remains the same, right? Also applies to vashan. But then this verb sien, right, the meaning changes completely. Umsien means to change, like normally to change your place, move from one place to another. Sich umsien means to to change your clothes. Okay, uh, and sien on its own means completely different. Like it means to pull. Then there are verbs. This is like this makes your life easy. The verbs which are always reflexive. Okay, these verbs are always reflexive. You must, okay, remember this. You must use them with reflexive pronomen. Verbs like sich beeilen, sich verspäten. Any idea what this mean? Like ich beeile mich, ich verspäte mich.
Yeah. Beeilen means hurry up.
Yeah, and verspäten, sich verspäten.
I am late.
To
Yeah,
get
so
late.
ich beeile mich is I'm in a hurry, or I'm hurrying, or ich verspäte mich, I'm getting late. Ich verspäte mich. Okay, then again, while we're talking about this, there is also this verb, the verb that we saw very in the beginning, sich bedanken, sich entschuldigen. I hope you know what these two mean, right? These are almost always reflexive. Okay. Okay, not always, but you can also say entschuldige mich. Okay, wrong example. Wrong example. I apologize. Let's continue. Again, guys, I hope you had some idea about why it is important to know reflexive verb, because you can use one verb to say so many different things. Okay, now how exactly should you learn reflexive verb? Okay, so you now know about reflexive verb and some 50%. So how should you learn, right? Whenever you learn a reflexive verb, for example, the reflexive verb sich bedanken, but just don't just learn sich bedanken, learn it like this: sich accusative bei jemandem für etwas accusative bedanken. This sounds too much, but it's not too much. If you know it, you try to read it 5 times and you use it 10 times, it's part of your vocabulary. So what does it mean? So that that means sich accusative means that reflexive pronoun will be in accusative case. Okay. Bei jemandem, any idea what does it mean bei jemandem? So if I say ich bedanke mich bei dir, what am I trying to say? Ich bedanke mich bei dir. Okay. None of you ever sent applied for a job and they sent you a rejection letter, and there's the first thing they say, right? Wir bedanken uns bei Ihnen für die Bewerbung, right? If someone wants to join the call, apologize. So, by means, so here you need, so if you just say ich bedanke, you're just saying I thank you. But if you want to provide more context, you will say I thank, I thank you. So ich bedanke mich just means, I thank. By, then you will provide more information like thanking home. So after by, whatever comes will be in dative. Okay, it's a pronoun. Again, this is not reflexive, it's just like normal pronoun in dative. Then few, and whatever you are thanking for, and that will be in accusative case. Few etwas, whatever that etwas something is, will be in accusative case. Sentence ich bedanke mich bei Ihnen für Ihre E-Mail, right? Or it can be ich bedanke mich bei Ihnen für die Bewerbung. They tell you whenever you apply for a job. Any questions?
So its approximation is we are thankful to you for your email.
Yes, I think that is that. Thank
I'm
you. That is, I
thankful.
think, more accurate. Like I am thankful instead of saying I'm just I thank. Yeah, I'm thankful. Something like that on those similar lines. Yeah, but
All right.
it's more kind of like, for example, if I'm talking to my boss for the first time, I will be saying this, ich bedanke mich bei dir. But as we get more close, more close, like as months, years, and then like weeks, months, and years pass by, I don't think I will say ich bedanke. I just say danke dir. That's it. It's kind of like more formal, but you should use it in the beginning. It makes your tongue suffer because you have to say so many words instead of just saying ich dank, danke dir. This is, you should practice. Does it answer your question? Okay, more questions, guys?
Yes. Clear.
Okay. If more questions, please ask. Now let's look at the syntax, right? It's not that difficult, guys. Okay. Syntax, okay. Now, in real life, syntax does not matter too much, but in the beginning, I will suggest you guys to write, whenever you think something that is difficult to say, you write this on a piece of paper. This, don't try to read everything, just follow me where my cursor is, right? So the syntax you will see for a statement, for a yes or no kind of question, and for a W word kind of question. So what's a statement? Just a statement, right? For example, ich bedanke mich. Okay, so subject, the reflexive verb, and the reflexive pronoun. And after this, you can have whatever you want. You can have the objects, prepositions, and stuff. So reflexive verb is all that in a statement, right? The verb is always at the second position, right? Second position, and it is conjugated with respect to the given subject. This is also obvious to you. The subject can be, you know, if there is nothing over here, before the verb, then you will have the subject over. If there is something over here, the subject moves to the after the verb position. For example, if I say, uh, uh, for example, today I am thankful to you. So if I have to say today, I will say heute bedanke. And because heute took the first position, the subject ish will have to take the position after the verb, so it will be heute. That's why I say either before or after reflexive verb. For example, ich bedanke mich, dann bedanke ich mich, like then I'm thankful. Okay, this is obvious. Dot 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 means, whatever, it can have objects, it may not have objects. Then what is the syntax for a yes or no kind of question? It's very simple, guys. Yes or no kind of question, you just interchange the positions of the reflexive verb and the subject. Okay, and then at the end you will have the question mark. That's it. Also, but in real life, when you're talking, you don't have to do these things. For example, hear me out. If I say, I am learning German, right? This is a statement. If I say it like this, I'm learning German, now this sounds like a question. So in real life, you don't have to actually, when you're asking a yes or no kind of question, you don't have to have the verb at the first position. But on paper, it is important. Okay, but I believe, when you're writing on WhatsApp to someone, we don't follow these rules, but it's nice that you know about these rules. But for a w word kind of question, it's very important. All you have to do is, okay, just remember, like, so for statement, subject, verb, reflexive pronoun. For yes or no kind of question, interchange the positions of the subject and the reflexive verb. And what about w word? Just take the syntax of yes or no kind of question and push it, and at the first position you have w word. Check. So you have w word, reflexive verb, subject, subject, reflexive pronoun, and dot 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 question mark. Any questions? Okay, no questions. Then what about for with modal verb? We also use modal verb. For example, can someone give me the modal verb? And that you should know this from A1, guys. Can someone give me the modal verb?
Come.
Dürfen. Dürfen.
Dürfen,
Dürfen.
dürften,
Muken. Musen.
Wollen, will,
wollen, sollen,
wollen, will, sollen.
right?
Dürfen.
So let's
Dürfen.
look at this sentence, right? So when you use modal verb, the beauty of using a modal verb is that, for example, over here, right, you have to conjugate the reflexive verb. You should try to use modal verb as often as you can, because then you don't have to remember the conjugation of the reflexive verb, right? For example, uh, when you use modal verb, right? So what happens? You should remember, whenever you use modal, remember this: the actual verb in here, over here, it is the reflexive verb, goes to the last position. The moment you have modal verb in your sentence, doesn't matter whether it is a statement, a w word kind of question, yes or no kind of question, the actual verb will move to the last position. So you have subject, and the last position you have the reflexive verb. Then what is the change? The second position, which was for the reflexive verb, gets hijacked by the modal verb, and it has to be conjugated with respect to the subject. So, in a way, what I'm trying to say is that normally you have subject, reflexive verb, reflexive pronoun, and other things. With a modal verb, what will happen is that this part, reflexive verb, will get pushed to the last position, and over here you will have the modal verb. One more change: now you will only conjugate the modal verb, okay, for given subject. The reflexive verb, you don't have to conjugate. You will use it in infinitive form. For example, ich muss mich bedanken. I must be thankful to you. I must thank you. Dann muss ich mich bedanken. I think this is also obvious, right? So this example is that because something took the place of a position before muss, so then subject had to be pushed over here, right? I think it's obvious. Any questions, please ask. Then what about yes or no kind of question? Again, the logic is the same. Take the syntax for statement, interchange the positions of modal verb and subject. Okay, so modal verb, subject, and then everything else remains the same. Of course, question mark. Again, in real life, you don't have to. You can, for example, ich muss mich bedanken is a statement, but if I say it like this, ich muss mich bedanken, it's a question mark. You know what I'm trying to say. But on paper, you have to write it like this in an exam. What about W word? It's very simple. Just take the syntax of yes or no kind of question, push it to the right, and at the first position, you have W word. Okay. For example, if I have to say, why should I be thankful? How do I say? Why should I be thankful?
Weshalb muss ich mich bedanken?
Yeah. Weshalb, warum. Okay. So you got the idea, right? Okay. How do you say, why can't you be thankful? And when I say you, I mean do. Okay, you can be informal. It's just one person direct.
Warum kannst du
Remember, I said can't.
Mm.
bedanken?
Okay,
Yeah.
can't, not can. So warum kannst
Warum
du?
kannst du
Warum kannst du
nicht
Dich nicht bedanken.
Yeah.
bedenken?
So the
warum
nicht.
kannst du nicht
So the answer,
bedanken?
correct answer is warum kannst du dich nicht bedanken? But you can also say warum kannst du nicht dich bedanken? It's also right, but there is one So the position of where the position of nicht should be is a topic for B1 level. Uh, but for now, just use it for your what your gut feeling says. What you hear from movies, from your colleagues. Where nicht should be. But both are right in real life. Okay, both are right. Any questions, guys? No questions. Let's. So we are done with reflexive pronoun, reflexive verb, guys. If you have any questions, please ask. Remember, reflexive verb are very important. Okay, don't hide away from them. The day you start using reflexive verb, there will be a change. They say that your brain will accept that. Okay, now you are actually speaking German language because it's a little bit sophisticated, and once you start using it, it's a little bit tough on the tongue, right? Because you have to say long sentences, but it's useful. Any questions, guys? Please ask. Otherwise, let's look at this separate another topic. I don't think it was part of the agenda, but let's go through it. Appointment, right? So, quite often, as you are living in Germany, you will have appointments. You will have, meetings. You will be having engagements, with other people. So, appointment. You can call it a Termin. You can call it Verabredung. You can call it Gespräch. Okay. You can also say meeting. Okay. And how do I say I have a termin? I have a meeting.
Ich habe einen Termin.
Eine,
Ich habe eine Termin.
einen Termin, right?
Einen.
Nen. It's accusative. Okay. Whenever you use haben, the object will be accusative. Okay. And termin. So I just wrote R. That means it's there. Masculine. I wrote E. That means it's the. Fun fact: anything which ends with ung is almost always feminine. Gespräch is you can't it's kind of like it's not a meeting. I mean, it's a meeting, but you will be talking. You have Vorstellungsgespräch, Zielvereinbarungsgespräch, and blah blah blah. So I then there is this verb einladen. Okay, what does einladen mean?
Invitation.
Invitation, right? How do I say I invite you to my yeah to my to my party? How do I say I invite you to my party?
Ich lade
Yeah,
Eine Party ein.
no,
Ich
yes.
lade meine Party ein.
ein.
But you're supposed to invite me, right? Where am I in that sentence?
Ich lade dir
Ich lade dich im
The answer is
my
in front of you, so you have to
party
use
ein.
su. You have to use su, and after what su will be, it will be dative.
Ich lade.
Dish was correct, so I invite. So if you just say ich lade dich ein, it's like I invite you. But my question will be to what?
To party.
Zur Party ein.
To a party, because correct. So it's the party and it becomes su. And if you want to say my party, you'll say zu minor party, like minor party. But normally, when normally if as you continue, you will realize that we don't actually pronounce the R towards the end. On paper, you have to write, but in real life, it's just you just say minor, but you are actually not saying the R part. So I hope you know all of these things. Just to tell you guys, think this is just tell you that think about all the appointments you have on a daily basis. If you're working or you're a student, think how many different ways you can write sentences about them. For example, or maybe think about like this: what vocabulary do you need to talk about your appointments? Okay. For example, postpone the meeting, prepone the meeting, cancel the meeting, join the meeting, leave the meeting, stuff like that. Think about it. So now let's come to this part, to say what you think or believe. So denken, glauben, vermuten. What does vermuten mean, guys? Okay, what does denken mean?
think,
Glauben?
Verboten means a restriction.
Believe, believe.
Yeah, no, what restriction? That is, what is restriction? It's not vermuten. What is restriction, guys, in German?
Verboten.
Verboten. This is vermuten. But think, it is just if you have to use the logic.
Trust,
Yeah,
trust.
if you
not trust. Trust is what is trust, guys,
Uh,
in German? Let me get
uh,
my text box. What
like
is trust?
truce, something like truce. And,
Trust is something else. So trust is Vertrauen.
Statue.
Vermuten
Mhm.
is guess. Okay, if your boss tells you, for example, what do you think? How long do you need to complete this project? You say, ich vermute, das dauert etwa, 2 Wochen. Vermuten is on the lines of thinking and believing, but it's kind of like guess. Okay, you don't know, but you are guessing. So here, so ich denke, du denkst, sie denkt, ihr denkt, and for the reason you only see four over there because the reason you see only four over there conjugations is so ich denke, du denkst. This is I'm telling you how you don't have to learn everything. Du denkst, er, es, sie denkt, ihr denkt, and for wir, small sz, capital sz, it is still denken, right? That's why I only write these four. So Glauben means to believe, right? But even in English, when we talk, we sometimes say "I believe," but we mean "I think," right? For example, what do you think about the project? I believe it's a good project, but you mean you think, right? So in German, also, sometimes people say "Ich glaube," but they are actually meaning they think. Also, one more thing that you have to do is, guys, so the numbers, right? Like one, you can count from eins bis. At least you should be able to count from one to your salary. That is a requirement. Then, but when you talk about dates, right? So, for example, if I have to say, can someone read this for me? You know, let's say if I say mein Geburtstag ist
Ist
am,
am,
yeah,
ist am 23. August.
but check
No.
it is there is a
Uh,
something has been
Is
highlighted.
23.
1, 6, 10.
23. August.
But check, no, it
Yeah.
is there is ending is
Um,
different.
But we can write 23 also.
1, 6, 10, August.
Yeah, so it is done. Someone said something. You can write what? Can you repeat, please?
Like we can write 23 also, no? While speaking numbers.
No, when you are no, that is no. You cannot do that. You can say it in real life, but but it's incorrect because it is for just understand that this for now just accept it because you are using this preposition an, and this am means an them, and this is in dative, and that's why you have to change the ending. But this is a little bit, we'll come back to this grammar, but I don't think it's that important. What I want is that just at least make sure that you can. So normally we talk about dates, right? So we talk about dates, right? A date can only go from 1 to 31st, right? So just know how to say, like, on first, for example, s10, then zweiten, because this is something you have to learn, right? Don't learn everything, just learn from 1 to 10, zweiten. But this is only after, whenever you are specifying on a specific day, on a specific day. If you're just saying first, second, third, erster, zweiter, dritter. But what I'm trying to say is that know how to talk, how to say when something is on. For example, it is on this date, and there you have to say 23. Okay, you cannot say 23. You can say it, people will know what you are trying to say, but it's incorrect. Okay. So please make sure how do you say, at least know how to say when your birthday is. That is, our birth is an important thing to question.
Is this spelling correct? Try on 1, 6, 10.
No, no, no. It should be ZI. You are right. Thank you very much for pointing out.
ZIGS.
Swan 610. Thank you very much. It's like this, right? Now it's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much for pointing out. So it's dry on Swan 610. Okay. That is something. Also, you should know how to say, for example, ist am, and then you just share the date and at what time. We are still talking about time. So ist ob, and then you say the time. So meet like almost every day we talk, right? When, on which day something is and at what time something is. So you know how to say that. Blah blah is blah 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 blah. Blah blah is blah blah oa. Okay. Any questions? No questions.
Yeah, I have observed that when we tell time, we go like is tom 17 or 30,
Yeah.
blah or blah.
Yeah, that is correct. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, that is how you say it.
Okay,
Yes.
welcome, welcome.
More questions? Okay, if no more questions, let's look at the word doc. Again, guys, it's not, again, it depends. Some people say it's fine, but because you use it so often, uh, you should know. For example, in English, we just have yes or no, right? For example, in English, I say, are you coming? You will say yes. Did you eat? You may say yes or no, right? But if I pose the question this way, are you not coming? Kommst du nicht mit? If you are coming, you will say not coming, you will say no. If you are coming, you will say yes, yes, I am coming. But in German, when the question is posed in a negative manner, okay, when the question is posed in a negative manner, but your answer is a positive one, right? So you should not say yeah, you should say doc. Is it clear? In real life, you can say yeah, ich komme mit. No, no. But normally, like if you want to be grammatically correct or like speak correct German, you should say doc. Okay, let's look at this example. Kannst du schwimmen? Ja. Or you can say no as well. But if I ask the question this way, kannst du nicht schwimmen? If you cannot, you'll say ja, nein, ich kann nicht schwimmen. But if you can swim, you will say doch, ich kann schwimmen. Okay. So when the question is asked without in a positive way, then the answer can be yes or no. But if the question is posed in a negative manner, then the answer is either nein or doch. Questions? This is important, guys. Quite often you will have to, you say yes no all the time. Just learn to say also when to say doc. Just focus, is the question posed in a negative way? That's it. Okay, and if you agree, just say nine. If you don't agree, say doc. Okay. Relationships, okay, just very simple, right? It's actually part of genative. We will cover this later, I think, towards the 11th or 12th session, also in B1. But let's just, this is one, but this is simple, but you should know. So when you talk about, someone's someone, so for example, someone, I mean, Marek's mother, or, mother of Marek. How do you say it in German? You can say Mutter von Marek. You have to use the this preposition von, or you can just say Marek, ns, and mutter. In English, we have, if I had to say in English, right, if I have to say Marek's mother, there will be an apostrophe over here, right? In German, we don't have apostrophe. Okay, remember this. It's just simple. Marek's mutter. For example, Bruder von Marek. If you want to say it, this is wrong, guys. There should not be an apostrophe. So Marek's Bruder. Okay, apostrophe should not be there. Questions? If there are no questions, let's look at the homework again, guys. Think about all the people that are part of your life who are important to
Question.
you, and see how you can, say, for example, blah blah's blah blah, or blah blah fun blah blah. Okay.
Yeah,
Question.
I have one question on this relationship slide. For sorry, for masculine Marek, it was okay. For Marek, we can write brother von Marek. But for feminine, for example, Maria, will it be von or for
No, it will
brother?
still be font. So font, no, I know what you, no, here just don't think about dative accusative. This is something different. So your question is correct, but that rule does not apply over here.
Okay,
Okay. So
thank
for
you. Yeah.
example, if I say I had a supervisor, her name was Sonia, right? So Sonia, she was a woman, so I can say Sonia's Rechner, or Sonia's Mutter, or Sonia's Vater, or Sonia's Werkstudent. So or
Right.
Werkstudent font. It doesn't it will always be font when you're talking about relationships. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right.
Mhm.
Let's look. A few more questions, guys. Ask. Otherwise, let's look at the homework. Uh, Homework is important, guys. I mean, I don't know if you're doing it or not, but if you do it, again, you can do any kind of homework you want. But if you don't know what to do, you can follow this homework, right? So you should already know this. But if you don't, then make a list of all the nominative, accusative, dative, personal pronomen. This is little bit like not relevant to the topic, but personal pronomen, right? Ich, du, er, es, sie, wir. Okay, so that is nominative, and then you make you find out what they are. You should know already. If you don't know, make this table. So what they are in accusative and what they are in dative. Okay, we'll need this in the next upcoming sessions. If you like to talk about food, you should try to learn the needed German vocabulary. What do I mean? For example, I eat a lot, but I don't like talking about food. If someone says, what do you like? I just say what I like and then I'm done. But some people, try to talk about, how do they like it? What should be there inside. If you are that kind of a person, and it's obvious that you'll be talking about it, and maybe you'll talk about it in German with your German colleagues. So you should have that vocabulary, okay? So whatever you should know at least whatever is in your refrigerator, what they are called in German, okay?
Like sir, we have to write the words which is related to food, right?
uh, can you repeat?
Like we have to write the words which are related to the food. For example, milch,
Yes,
then
yeah, yeah.
gemüse,
The
like
first thing is
this,
you should
like
know all
words.
the
We have to write
nouns,
only
okay?
words. We have to write a text.
First thing is you should know learn on the nouns. For example, milk, butter, cakes, watermelon,
Yeah.
or whatever you like, and then learn the
Mm.
correct article. Always learn a noun with the correct article, okay? And then you can go for verbs. For example, essen is to eat, but do you know what cost means? Kostan.
Cook.
No, that is kochen. What is kosten, guys?
Question is
To
delicious.
cost something cost.
No,
Delicious.
no. What is no, no, no? Oh, but what is
Like
delicious, guys?
Lekker.
lekker.
Lekker, okay. But what is kosten? It's a
Cost.
verb.
Cost is
Oh,
Cost.
it means to cost. How much it
Cost.
is it? How much?
How
Yes,
much the
that also
price?
means like, how much does something cost, but related to food, it means to taste. It's kind of like, very, how do I say it? Uh,
Like select is also the word, right? To taste.
uh, yes, lecker means to lick, okay? Kosten, it
Schmeckt.
also, das kostet 5 Euro, it costs 5, but it also means, kannst du das, willst du das kosten? It's not very formal when we use this, among close circles. It's like, do you want to taste? It also means that, okay? So the idea is that
And
once you're done with nouns, go for verbs.
what about schmeckt?
Schmeckt is schmecken, yeah. So schmeckt is kind of like it tastes good. So uh, it can mean. I mean, it depends. I personally think it means two things. One thing, for example, if I say das hat geschmeckt, it was tasty. But if I say hast du das geschmeckt, did you taste? So again, so if your question is like difference between kosten and schmecken, I don't know. But from what I know, schmecken, when I say, ich habe das geschmeckt, it's like it was tasty. Kosten means to taste. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Just make sure I because I never wrote this on like on a slide. It can be Costen, but the pronunciation is Kosten. Just check for it, guys. But I think it should be Kosten. But Kosten also means, how like to cost. That's costed 5 Euro. Okay. So now more questions. No questions. This is what I meant by this homework. I hope I answered your question. Then think of all the people with whom you interact on a daily basis. Okay. Learn the German nouns to describe these relationships. For example, partner, Mann, Partnerin, Frau, Freund, Freundin, Kollege, Kollegin, Mitarbeiter, Mitarbeiterin. What is boss in German, guys? How do I say your immediate boss?
Chef.
Chef.
Chef in.
But do you,
Hey,
it's,
chef.
but in Teams, what do they write? Do you all like, do you say it's boss or what do they say? Chef, we say it like, we say it among friends, like she's my chef or he's my chef, but what is the like correct better word?
Leiter?
Lighter is leader, something with for and gazettes.
Vorgesetzte.
Vorgesetzer. Okay, Vorgesetzer is, you can say chef, guys. It's fine, but like normally they say Vorgesetzer. Okay, but if I use chef all the time. I say, mein Chef ist nicht da, but just trying to help you with learning like Hochdeutsch. So also, guys, just make a list of all the people who are a part of your life. Again, people relevant to your life. Okay, and see how you can how you can describe their position in your life. For example, you can have mentor, mentorin. Uh, I also sometimes, I think like, for example, I have people in my life who make sure that I have headaches. So I tell them, the Kopfschmerzen Geberin, like someone who gives me headache. But again, this is like uh, not proper German. Okay. Then it is a good practice in journal to describe exactly how you are feeling. They also say it's good for your mental health. If so, what again? But this is German class. Please learn the necessary German words. For example, stark, schwach, frisch. In the morning, if I have coffee, I feel fresh. After the work, I feel müde. Sometimes I feel very old. I'm getting older. Sometimes I feel very young. Sympathisch, irritiert, geliebt. Loved, allein, einsam. Just know allein means alone. Einsam means lone. There is a difference. Gut, schlecht, etc. Okay. Make a list of adjectives that you can use to describe your mental state or your physical state. Okay. And you can say so many things with adjectives, guys, and this is important. Learn adjectives, they are your help. Verbs, you have to learn the conjugations, right? Adjectives, you don't have to learn all of that. You just know the adjective and you can use it with the verb sign. Ich bin stark, ich bin schwach, ich bin frisch, ich bin müde. Please take some time and try to write what all do you do when you are working. Okay. uh, Now try to write it in German. You can post this in the group if you want, if you feel comfortable. But what I want is that, so when I say when you are working, don't try to just take one part of your day, okay, in which you have to speak German. Okay. It can be a meeting with some client, or a specific part where you have to speak in German, and that part you should try to write in German. Don't use any tool. Okay, just try to write on your own for the first time. Then after that you can use tool. But at the end, you have to learn, make a list of the nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs that you use to describe this specific part of your life, of your day. Okay. uh, do this, guys. This will have a tremendous impact on your German language journey. We have 4 minutes left. Let's play this quick game. I like this part. Again, it's something like Duolingo, but like it's the Duolingo is speaking right now. Okay, let's go over here. You can see the slider. Do I have to go to full screen?
So, can you please zoom in?
Okay, no problem. How about now?
No.
Okay, wait. Oh boy. Google Slides. Yes, here is the part. Okay, now you know that, right? Very quickly tell me, recept. Cooking?
Sipping,
Yeah, cooking.
Result.
cooking,
Yeah.
to cook,
Tell me what is Riechen?
reach,
Smell.
Yes, smell. What is to reach, guys? How do you say to reach?
Sorry?
So someone said reach, right? How do you say to reach? Can you reach?
Right.
Ration.
Ration. But it's actually not ration, but it's suffice. Ration means to suffice. For example, I worked for 7 hours a day, and your
Ration.
error,
ration means to
ration,
reach here. That's for example, to not be able to reach someone. You're calling a colleague, erreiche dieser Kollege nicht. But then there is this verb reichen. Reichen means to suffice. For example, if you tell me, yeah, I study for 5 minutes every day German, I will say, yeah, that is not enough. That is not sufficient. I will say das reicht nicht. Okay. Okay. Berichten,
A report.
besuchen,
Visit.
äh, etwas Akkusativ melden.
Melden is to login.
No, that is what is login?
report,
No. How to say login in German?
unmelden,
Login.
Anmelden. That is anmelden, right?
Anmelden.
It's actually sich Akkusativ anmelden, right? So to login. Ich melde mich. And not exactly. It should be einloggen, okay? But what is ich melde mich an? What does this mean?
I will get back to you.
No, that will be. I'll get back to you, but that will be ich melde mich
I
bei
log
dir.
in, I log in,
Login, yes, but it also means so just to make sure we are in the correct. So I will get back
Like
to
to
you.
register.
Bei dir.
To register.
To register, yes, to register, right? What is uh, this difference between these two guys? Sich Akkusativ über etwas Akkusativ freuen, sich Akkusativ auf etwas Akkusativ freuen. So only the preposition is changing, everything else remains the same. Difference between them, guys? Okay, just to make sure, I think 1 minute left. You will have access to all of this, guys. The call will end in 1 minute. I will have no control over it because it's a free account. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you learned something. I hope to see you in the
So
next
tomorrow,
session.
can you take prepositions?
Sorry,
Can you please tomorrow take prepositions?
prepositions for what? I mean, which prepositions?
Like all the prepositions.
Yeah, we'll go through them, but I'm not sure if it's tomorrow, but we'll go through them. It's part of the